Hello, and welcome to Youth Code Jam's You Are Enough activity sponsored by Spurs Give. My name is Jen. I'm one of the lead instructors at Youth Code Jam, and I'm so excited that you've joined us to work on this activity. Let's get started. As you can see, I have the activity sheet pulled up. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between this activity and our Scratch workspace throughout this video. This activity is based on the book called The Nuff by Veronica Wardrop. The Nuff is a tale about a unicorn with a broken horn who discovers what it means to be a Nuff. For this activity, you'll need to have your laptop or desktop computer, a tablet, or a Chromebook. Note that Scratch will work best on a laptop or desktop, but you can also use the desktop version for this if you have that downloaded. You will also need an internet connection, and if you don't have the desktop version, a web browser. So I'm going to go pull up my Chrome browser, and in my search bar up here where the blinker's cursing, I'm going to type scratch.mit.edu. And you don't have to be signed in to an account to do this. I'm not going to sign into mine. I'm just going to go straight to create. If you want to save this project, then you will need to sign into your account. So the first thing we're going to do is clear our workspace. This is our workspace right in here, and this white empty space is where we will pull all of our blocks. So I'm going to close out of this tutorial window, and I'm also going to go ahead and delete the cat because we're going to be using a different character for this. So because I'm switching back and forth between my browser and my activity sheet, I'm going to make my browser just a little smaller. And same with this activity sheet here. This just makes it easier for me to go back and forth between them. If it's easier for you, you're welcome to print this activity so that you can reference the printed version while we work through this. Since I'm only doing this activity once and I don't want to waste paper, that's why I'm keeping it on my computer. So we're going to start at step 1, and we're going to choose a sprite, and the sprite, a sprite is our character, by the way, so it's that little picture that we're going to be using. So the sprite we're going to use is Unicorn 2, it looks like. So to get our sprite, I'm going to click back in the browser and choose the Choose a Sprite button, which looks like a cat. And you see how it has this pop-up option here. That's in case you want to upload something or make your own. So we're actually going to go to Choose a Sprite. So you can either click the little, this icon right here, or you can click the cat face. I'm going to click the cat face. And to save time, I'm going to type in the name of the sprite. So we're going to type in Unicorn, and we want Unicorn 2, which is the one with the rainbow mane and tail. So once you have the unicorn selected, we're going to add our backdrop. So you can come here to this backdrops panel, and just like we did with the cat, you're going to hover over the icon. So you can pick that one, and you can go through your workspace here and choose whichever one you want. Water and rocks, it looks like. So that's the one I'm going to choose. We're just going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to move on to step 3, which is at the top of page 2. So there's a lot of different ways to interact with our programs. For this one, we're going to use a event code that takes input from our keyboard. So we're going to use our space key to trigger different events in our program. So go ahead and switch back to your browser and click on this events drawer over here on the left of your screen. It's a little yellow circle, says events underneath it. And we're going to grab this Win space key press block and drag it into our workspace here. And we're going to leave it set to space. The next thing we're going to do, step 4, is we're going to go to the control drawer and grab a repeat until loop. So this repeat until loop will, anything that's inside of this, which will add some code blocks to it. So I went to control here, and then I'm going to grab this repeat until. So anything we put in here is going to repeat until some condition that we add here tells it to stop. So this is a little different. In other activities, a lot of times we'll use a when green flag clicked and a forever block. So we'll just run and run until we hit the stop button. And this time we're building a activity where the code gives it a stopping point and we don't have to manually do anything. So on step 5, we're going to create something called our condition, and that condition is going to tell the program to do something until it's false. So what we're going to build a condition is we're going to say repeat until the space key on our keyboard is not pressed anymore. So to do that, we're going to go to the operators drawer, which is this green circle with the word operators underneath, and grab a not operator. and then go to the sensing drawer. Grab the block that says key space pressed, which is down here, and drag it inside of our not operator. So I did that kind of fast, so you may not have noticed. So I'm going to take both of those out real quick and just show you. We're inserting those into this little diamond shape here, and the best way to know when that will pop inside is when you see that white outline along the block. So you can see that that diamond is now having a white highlight. So I can go ahead and drop my not operator in there, and then I'm going to grab my key space press block, and then you can see right there the green diamond is now highlighted white, so it's safe to release my block and it will pop into that. You may need to pause the video for a minute so that you can get that in there, but just pause the video and then press play when that's set up. So on step 6, now we're going to put some blocks inside of our repeat until block, and we're going to tell, this is going to tell our sprite which way to move and how to face. So the first thing we're going to do is get a point towards block from the motion drawer up here in the left top corner. So we want point towards mouse pointer, and we're just going to drag and drop it into our block. And then we're going to get a glide 1 second to mouse pointer. So you won't see it say mouse pointer right here. Right now it says random position, but this is the block we want. So we're going to drag that underneath our point towards block. And then you're going to use this little drop down option. You can see that upside down triangle. You're going to click that upside down triangle and change it from random position to mouse pointer. Oops. Okay, so now I'm on step 7, and we're going to add a second sprite to our code. So we're going to add the rainbow. And we're going to do that the same way. You're just going to choose a sprite. And in here, I'm going to type in rainbow. So you guys can scroll through or search for it, but it's easiest if you know the name of the sprite just to type it in. So I typed in rainbow and I selected it. And now this is in my space. So on step 8, which is at the top of page 3, we're going to edit some additional costumes for the rainbow. So the important thing here is to make sure the rainbow icon is selected. And you'll know this, it is selected by the blue highlight around it, and it will have the trash can in the corner, or maybe an X depending on which version of Scratch you're using. And you'll also see that we don't have any code here. That's because the code we just built is attached to our unicorn sprite. So this code right now is not going to have anything to do with the rainbow. But that's okay, because we're actually going to go work in the costumes tab for the next few steps. So come to the top left of your screen here and click on costumes. And this is where all the costumes for the rainbow will be visible. So right now you can see there's only one costume, and it's with all the colors fully visible. So we're going to change that a little bit. So we're going to duplicate that first block, and then we're going to make some changes to it. So to duplicate this, you're going to right click with your trackpad or mouse, and then duplicate that. So now you have rainbow and rainbow 2. We're going to edit rainbow 2, so make sure that one is the one that's highlighted. So the next thing we're going to do is adjust the saturation, or how dark that red is. We're going to make it really pale. And we're going to drop the saturation to 25. So we're going to click on, you can see those little blue lines popping up. That is selecting different layers of the rainbow. So I clicked on the very top line, and you can see it selected the red one. So you're going to come up here to outline, hit that drop down button, and on this middle slider, we're going to slide this all the way to 25. And if you have, so I went past 25, you can also, can we click? No. So you can only use the slider to change the number. So I went to 25, but if you ended up between 20 and 27, you'll be okay. It will be pale enough. So we can see our red is not very bright anymore. We're going to repeat that step for each color in our rainbow. Okay, so now we're on to step 11, and we're going to add some text to this picture. So it can be a single word or maybe a phrase that you want to use. And we're going to use positive words to describe how wonderful you are, or valuable, or special. So you're going to use positive phrases to describe things about you, or maybe you want to use positive phrases that you would use to describe your family or your friends. So here are a few examples that we're going to use. So maybe I want to do powerful, let's do powerful heart, like the example. So to add text, you're going to come to the left side of our screen, right next to the costume panel, and look for this T. Go ahead and click on that T, and then you're going to draw a rectangle. So you just click once into your Sprite costume area, and we're going to type, what did I choose? I chose powerful heart. So all my words right now are not showing up. So that's because my text doesn't have any fill or color right now. So I'm going to come up here to the fill option, and I'm going to make it have a color. There we go. So it was set to this no fill option, but I'm going to make it have a color. And I want it to really stand out against my heart. So I'm going to make it just a little darker because that color is not in my rainbow. So that's how we change the color, is that you use the fill option for the text. And make sure, if you want to move your words, make sure this arrow cursor is selected and just come right towards the middle, and you'll see that hand grab it. And I'm going to put my words right in the middle of my rainbow. And now if I want to change the text, I will click back on the T option, and I will change it. I can use this drop down menu here to change the different text. So there's sans serif and serif, which are, this one has no decorations on it, and serif has little decorations at the end of the letters. There's something called handwriting. The word has to be highlighted like that when you're changing this. So there's something called handwriting, and you can see the letters changing as I go through this. So the example in the activity sheet is marker, but you can also use curly or pixel. And these are some different characters. So maybe I wanted to do, I kind of like curly. So let's do that one. I want to recenter that. So I'm going to click back on my select arrow and just drag it right there. Okay, so let's take a look at step 12. So we're going to duplicate Rainbow 2 and create several more costumes. So remember, you're going to right click on Rainbow 2 and hit duplicate. And let's see how many more we're going to make. So let's say we're going to duplicate this about 5 times. So I'm going to pull from these examples. So we started with powerful heart, so now I'm going to have powerful brain. And then I'm going to duplicate that by right-clicking on Rainbow 3. And we can have deep soul. Let's do brave as our last one. So I'm not going to do 5. I'm going to do that many. I think that's enough for this example. You guys can do as many as you want. Okay, so we have our example for our different costumes. And now we're going to switch back to the code. And your rainbow should still be our active sprite. So it should still be highlighted. And we're going to add some code to it so that it switches through the costume. Okay, so we're going to go to the events drawer. And this is our when green flag clicked block I was talking about earlier. So when we start the program, this will automatically have the code for the rainbow will start running. And then we're going to get a forever block from the control drawer. And you see I just click the names of the blocks to really navigate to them, and I'll scroll if I have to. But it's easiest for me just to click the names and it will jump me right to where I need to be. So we're going to get this forever block from the control drawer. And then inside of that forever block, we're going to get an if-then statement from the control drawer, so that this is like our until block. We're going to create a condition that if this is true, then execute this code. So go back to our browser and get this if-then block. It's right underneath the forever block, and we're going to nest it inside the forever block, just like that. And then our condition is going to be another sensing block. So go to sensing. And we're going to get this touching block. Right now it says touching mouse pointer. And so you're going to drop that in there like that. And then use the drop down to say touching unicorn 2. So when our rainbow touches unicorn 2, then something's going to happen. And we're going to add that code next. So step 15, we're going to tell it to change to the next costume and then jump to a random position on the screen. So back in our web browser with Scratch open, go to the purple look drawer, second from the top, and grab this next costume block. And then go to the motion drawer and say go, and then grab this go to block. It's already set to random position, so we don't need to do anything. And that's it for the main part of this activity. So let's go ahead and, so we don't need to do anything on the rainbow. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the unicorn. So remember, to move the unicorn, we need to hold the space key down and move our mouse cursor around the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this green flag, which will start the whole thing. I'm going to hold my space key down, and now you can see my unicorn is following my cursor around the screen. Oops. And when I let up off my space key, the whole program stops. Well, my unicorn stops moving. The program actually keeps running. But you can see every time I touch it, not only does the rainbow change, but the message changes. So if you wanted to really stop this, you'd have to come up here and hit the stop sign icon, and that would stop the whole program from running. But each time you start, it will pick up right where you left off. So like I said, that's it for the main part of this activity. At the very end here, we have something called an adventure mode. You should be able to complete all of these based on the things that we learned to do today. So things that you can do are try to add a sound effect to your program or record your own voice to share a positive message each time the unicorn touches the rainbow. You can add another sprite to your program and show other ways in which other people are enough. And you can change which key powers your unicorn's flight. So remember, we use the space key here and here. You can change that and use a different key to do that. And if you want to add a sound, that's actually not something we went over, but if you want to play with sounds, you would go to the sound drawer, and you could do, you could use a block. So let's say you wanted to play sound. You could add that in here maybe, and you can do record, or you can go to your, unicorn and go to the sounds tab. And so the unicorn has this sound automatically with it. So you can either stick with that and use these tools down here to change how this sound effect is. Or you can come to choose a sound and choose a different sound to add to your sprite and use that with your blocks. So there's lots of things you can do, and these adventure modes really just encourage you to explore the code blocks more and make the program more your own. So I really hope you enjoyed this activity, and we'll hopefully see you again soon.